Welcome to Lady Overlander Radio, where tonight we're speaking with Carol and Peter Van Stralen from Epic Family Road Trip. Stay tuned. Grab your favorite drink, whether it's a coffee, cocktail, or tea, and get ready. It's Ladies' Night on Lady Overlander Radio. Lady Overlander Radio is brought to you by Artemis Overland Hardware and the Moore Expo. Come see us at the Moore Expo April 8th through 10th, 2022. Welcome to the show tonight. Hey, Arla. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
How you doing today?
Oh, I'm so excited right now. I'm just so excited. Yeah.
What you excited about?
Look at who's on. I mean, it's exciting.
I don't see Lando.
I'm excited. He'll be around.
I thought we were interviewing Lando tonight. That's what Kara wanted.
Oh, yeah. Kara wanted Lando.
Yeah.
He'll be around. He'll be
around tonight. So tonight we have Carol and Peter from Epic Family Road Trip, and we're super excited to talk to you guys tonight. Arla and I both been big fans for a long time, followed your YouTube channel for a very long time. And as I told you guys earlier, you know, my family and I started overlanding full time because we watched your YouTube episodes and we're like, well, they got 3 kids. If they can do it, so can we. And we've been doing it for 2 years now. So
That's amazing.
It is definitely possible. So
yeah, we love hearing those stories.
That's what keeps us going.
I'm telling you, it's an adventure like no other, especially with kids. It's hard to describe to people, isn't it?
It is. But it's
Go
ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's hard to explain to people, but it's such a unique amazing opportunity. You know, in normal life, you just don't get the time with your kids as you do in this lifestyle. So,
oh, absolutely, that's for sure. And Kara, Lando.
Where's Kara? Where's Lando?
She's like, I want to see Lando tonight. But for people that may not know your story, which I highly doubt there's very many people, but for the people that don't, why don't you guys give a little background on yourselves?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you can do it.
So we just started our 7th year on the road as we crossed into 2022, and we started out way back originally when we started with the motorhome because we wanted that. We knew nothing about travel. We knew nothing about overlanding. We wanted the adventure, but we felt with the motorhome we'd have 4 walls around us, and that would keep us safe. You know, it's just kind of that's how we started, and we didn't know what the kids would think, but after a little while, in our minds, we thought maybe they're going to want to get more and more luxurious. Like, it was only 24 feet, so it's very small and, you know, not a lot of space. We thought maybe they'd want to go to a big 45-footer or something, but we realized they wanted exactly the opposite. As we started to get up into places like Alaska, we had to stick to the pavement, and we'd watch these modified vehicles heading down these back roads and into the wilderness, and we all said to ourselves, that's where we want to go, you know. And the kids, so they actually wanted more of a wild experience. So we put the motorhome in storage. We got it all decked out for overlanding after attending an expo, because, you know, we didn't know what the word even meant, but yeah, we were towing a stock Jeep at the time, and we brought it in actually to this place where we are now. This is Exploration Outfitters, and they helped us get it outfitted. You know, they said you need to upgrade the suspension so you can put a rooftop tent and you know, slide out kitchen and all this stuff. So it was a really exciting time, and we shrunk down. You know, so we went from a big house, to a small motorhome, down to a Jeep with a rooftop tent with 3 kids, and we didn't have the dog back then, and we just fell in love with that lifestyle, getting into more remote areas, sleeping in the elements so we could hear the rain on our rooftop tent. We could hear the wind coming out of the mountains. We could hear an elk bugling in the distance, and the waves slapping up on the nearby shore. So that was the experience we were after, and we're still at it.
That's awesome. Yeah, your story is very similar to ours. We started out full-time RVing after we retired from the Coast Guard, and we just felt that we weren't getting to all the places we wanted to go with an RV. And so we were debating on whether to keep the RV and kind of branch out from there. and we started watching your YouTube channel, and we sat down, and the kids and my husband and I sat there and binge watched a whole bunch of episodes. And we were like, we can do this. If we can RV full time, we can do this. It's a little different, a lot more logistics involved, but I think we can do this. And then a few weeks later, as luck would have it, or God or somebody intervened, the RV got totaled. So we jumped right into it. And we haven't looked back. So
Not good.
that was back in 2020. And I believe it was right around the time you guys were making a beeline back up to Canada because of the coronavirus and everything locking down.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
it's been a crazy ride for the last 2 years, as I'm sure it's been for you guys.
Yeah.
For sure. People ask us about the lifestyle, and we always say we didn't choose it because it's easier. Motorhoming is probably easier than cooking out of the back of your Jeep and things like that. But so is living in a house. But we're not choosing the easy path. We're choosing the path that makes sense for us, that allows us to do the things we want to do and get to the places we want to get to, get off the grid, get way back in the wilderness, spend quality time with the family, away from screens and distractions and news and all the other things that are distract so many people. And so that, the Jeep lifestyle or the overland lifestyle has allowed us to really get out there and do it. And we just keep going. We just there's so many places to see. We don't feel like quitting yet.
Yeah, what Pete didn't tell you is this was supposed to be a 3-month road trip.
Initially, yep.
And yes. So.
How's that working out?
We asked the kids at the end of 3 months. We've gone from Ontario, Canada, down through Florida, as far south as you can go, and then worked our way west. And we were just getting to the west. We were just in Moab, Utah, when the 3 months kind of was nearing the end. I said, if we leave now, we could be home at the end of the 3 months. And they were almost in tears. They're like, oh, we want to keep going.
We don't want to go home. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's that once you get out west, there's so many places to explore. I mean, there's a lot on the East Coast too, but there's so many places to go out there. Like, I could go there 20 times and still find somewhere new to explore. It's crazy.
Right.
But my husband's in on our channel here. RVs are so limiting. Once you get out there and see what is out there on the road, they're great.
That's why we got rid of ours.
They are limiting.
We actually hit every state and every province in the RV. We really beelined it. We moved quickly, but we remember coming back with the Jeep and saying, we've already been to New Mexico, but let's try it again. And now we went with the Jeep and we got off the pavement and we discovered trails. We had driven right by. We didn't know there's these huge canyons and the national forest that we could spend days and days driving through and not seeing a soul. So it just gets you off the pavement and gets you into the wilderness.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So Kara said, let's talk. Let me find it here.
Let's talk about
your new setups here.
Mm-hmm.
You guys did some things to the Jeeps here lately. What'd you do there, Carol? Tell me a little bit.
Well, it's kind of, we just took off all the rooftop tents, the racks, everything that we had put on 5 years ago with Vandy and with Worsley. And then we added on 15 inches off the back. And then also where you can drop into your Jeep. So it's
the tent, it converts the space to living space inside. So it's a kit made by American Safari, JXL, Red River Rigs out of Amarillo. And the whole kit slides on, it bolts on. It can actually be removed if you wanted to, but it replaces the cap. And so,
what kind of weight does it add on when you put that conversion on?
Actually,
zero.
Actually with Vandy, the blue Jeep, she lost weight. I think it was about.
Oh, lucky girl.
A couple 100 pounds.
Yes.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. What was it around like?
It was 6,600 pounds with the tent and the roof rack and all that. And then when we pulled all that off, put the JXL on, it was 6,400 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So that's quite a bit.
But for us, it allows us to get up in the morning in cold weather or rainy weather. We find ourselves a lot of times in high elevations, and where the weather changes rapidly, and we've woken up and just been making coffee with absolutely frozen hands, and we thought, you know, with the way travel has gotten these last couple of years, sometimes we don't know if we can get to a place we want to get to. So there's so many variables that we thought the ability to get up and be inside in a warm environment in the middle of the night or early in the morning is a neat luxury that we kind of we're looking forward to. And I think now with the JXLs, we'll be able to do that. So we just put them on like literally 2 weeks ago, and then we drove from Amarillo here, and we've been doing interior work. So we've slept in them a few times, but we haven't been able to take them into the wild.
It was weird. It was like, you know, when you get a new house or something, you don't know your way around. I was so confused.
Yeah.
It's like, where did I put that now? Yeah.
So it was interesting, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So Dan is asking, with the 5 of you, did you ever consider a bigger vehicle like a Land Cruiser, 100 or 200 series, or something bigger?
One of those would be great, but we were just using what we have right now. Like that, Vandy was my everyday driver, and it just seemed like the perfect fit. But yeah, we've considered.
Yeah, I mean, we looked over the summer at different configurations. We spent time with our friends at X Overland, Clay and Rochelle, and the kids did some expeditions with them. But we got to really see all the different vehicles, you know, firsthand. We got to try camping in them, and I mean, they're great vehicles. But for us to go through the whole process of selling everything we own and trying to buy something new, it just wasn't worth it for us right now. This was the easiest, fastest, simplest way to utilize what we have, make a few additions, and roll out with a very functional camper vehicle that still allows us to climb mountains and get into the backcountry.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was telling them before the show that Joe and I went through Amarillo late last fall, and we went by Red River Rigs and we're checking them out. And he happened to mention, when we mentioned that, you know, we started doing this because of you guys, he's like, oh, they're going to be coming in the spring and getting their Jeeps extended. And I'm like, you can't tell me stuff like that. I got to keep that a secret for like 6 months now. And I did very well. I didn't tell anybody. So just want you to know that I was very good. But
Don't tell me. That's all news to me.
Yeah, I didn't even tell Arlen.
I'm a little hurt, but I'll get over it. I'll get over it. So we got a question. Watching the new build, I had to wonder what happened to the MT hoods, etc.
Yeah, so we actually sold one already. We just put them at a very discounted rate for our Patreon family initially, and if any of them were interested, you know, because nowadays with often things are out of stock, and so having something sitting there available, ready to go at a discounted price. So one sold immediately, and we're waiting for you know, someone else to respond on the other ones.
Great.
The other one and the roof racks, whatever someone is interested in.
Oh, see, Bats Off Road. Loved your video on Padre Island. Seems like the original fire reflector was very useful. We love MC Ranch Overland. Yeah, we love Mike.
Yeah. It's especially in situations like that. You've got wind constantly coming off the Gulf, and it just, we love it. It creates that sense of community. It enhances your fire. You know, sitting around a fire is always good. There's no doubt.
It absolutely does.
It dries your socks really well.
It what?
Dries your socks really well.
Yeah.
But it does keep the heat right there at you. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about road schooling and traveling full time on the road with 3 kids, Carol.
Oh, me. It's a little bit, we did.
The schooling.
Yeah, it's more for like Ontario curriculum, like the Canadian. But so when we were in New Zealand, we were doing the virtual learning, so online learning, kind of like what kids have been having to do the last few years, but it was,
It was an early program. It was there was 2 available. One was called virtual learning. One was independent learning. And the virtual was a live class like we're doing now, like this type of a thing where the teachers were and the students were virtually connected. But as we crossed crazy time zones, it was really harder to attend.
Because they would be trying to do exams at like 3 a.m. the next day.
Yeah.
With the time zone. So it just, didn't work. So we switched over to independent learning, and so that they could kind of go at their own pace. And so all three of them learn differently. Like, so that was interesting. So,
That
but
definitely fit their learning style.
I like that one because with that system, they had Fridays off, but they could have one-on-one with whatever teacher they needed help with. So I thought that was like brilliant and a big help for our kids.
That's awesome.
The independent learning allowed them to work at their own pace, which really fits their style. Just replicating the classroom online is okay. It allows you to be out of the classroom, but you're still following that structure, and you've got to, follow along and do what you're told and so on. They're more free than that, these kids, and they could get into their books and study it and actually do deep dive and learn more than the curriculum offered and be done by noon, and go surfing. So they really love that style, and they worked hard and pushed through it. And they're past graduation now, but they're never stopped learning. I think it inspired in them a desire to learn, an intellectual curiosity that they might not have got in a normal school. And it seems like they're constantly researching, studying, growing, reading. They know a lot more about history. They know a lot more about me than when I went through regular high school. I spent most of the time staring out the window, wishing I was out there. So,
wishing you were outside.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Now that's what we do with our three kids. They're all on their own. It's very self-paced for them. We're not doing a standard, structured classroom. My daughter is doing a Florida virtual online flex program, and the other two are doing time for learning. And what I really like about those is as long as we have internet connectivity, they can do them as fast or as slowly as they'd like, and we can work around our schedule and where we're camping and everything. So it's definitely nice and it's the same thing. They're funny though, because it's like 2 hours in the morning that they have to do something, and then they get to go play and go be wild the rest of the day, and you still think that we're killing them.
That's true. So, go ahead.
It's not necessarily easier, we tell people, because your children will have to learn self-discipline, because often the books are competing with a surf break that's 100 yards from where you are, or some snowboards or mountain bikes that are enticing them to get out of their school. But so they have to learn how to push through. But I think it's a really good discipline for kids to learn. And so all around we just loved it. We think it was the best education they could ever have. We called it road school, and yes, they followed the curriculum, but the real education was the experiences they had out there on the road and meeting people and learning about other cultures, and just experiencing things that often you'd only really see maybe in a documentary movie or read in a book, but they're out there doing it and learning about it.
So Adventures of Professor is asking, have any of your kids thought about getting their own rigs and building them up to take more than the 2 rigs? I know the boys have the 2 bikes.
Yeah, they went down even smaller. So
they got their own adventure rigs already.
Yeah, they're building those out. Actually, they're in the shop right now getting re-geared, and so
a bunch of other things like tires, and they put thousands of mountain miles on them now, and so they're already replacing the rubber. But so they have had that dream for a long time, and Carol and I had a lot of innovations about adding bikes and the dangers involved with that, and they're very, very real concerns. But the guys, I said to them, at your age, it's easy to get a crazy idea you're just so passionate about, and then 2 weeks later it peters out, or even a year later. I said, if you guys are still passionate a year or 2 from now, and you've saved up a good portion of the money to buy these things, then it's a real passion. And sure enough, they never lost it over 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it took them 4 years to save up for those, and they talked about it every single day.
And that's a lot of money to lay down, but they did it.
Yeah, there was hours. Like sometimes if there was like a 4 or 7 hour drive, I would be like, my head exploded, because they would be like telling me everything about the bike, the parts, this, that, and why they're going to choose this one. And so I basically am an expert at the KTM 690.
Well, my son is, he's a World War II expert, so I have become a World War II expert as well. So,
Awesome.
yes, by hours and hours in the vehicle listening to stories. So I understand that completely.
Yeah. Only in the overland world you get
Right.
that kind of opportunity. And I mean, we're laughing about it because it can be crazy listening for that many hours, but it also is something that most parents look back and they're like, man, I wish I, had the time, but we were, in our
Absolutely.
old life, I'm running off to work and you guys got to go to school. Carol's going to the gym. When we get back, maybe we'll have time. Oh no, you're off with your friends. I've got this meeting. It was just, oh my goodness, we never had any time, and we were trying to raise a family. For us, all of this, we're not vehicle people. We're not experts at anything other than we just wanted to try to raise a family. And this scene, going simple, simplifying our life, going on the road, going through struggles and
Downsizing.
challenges
Yeah.
together, that allowed us to do what our main purpose was, which is spend, be a family.
Absolutely. That's the same reasons we did it. It's just, you can't get back that time with your kids. And,
No.
if you have the ability to potentially do this or something similar to where you can spend a lot of time with them, I highly recommend it because the rewards are every single day.
Yeah.
They really
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, we didn't want to look back and say, man, I wish we had done that. We had hoped to look back someday and go, man, I can't believe we did that. And that's kind of how we feel almost every day.
Absolutely.
You guys went to New Zealand? Yeah, I have no idea how we swung that, but we did.
But we
Hey,
did. But we
you
did.
find a way, it's great. It sure is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So,
get creative.
Kara's asking, where did the Jeep names come from?
Yeah, that's an awesome one.
You can do Worsley.
So there's, you know
do,
Vandy?
Yeah, Vandy is it Afrikaans?
It's Afrikaans.
Yeah,
It's a South
Afrikaans.
African.
Caroline actually named Vandy for traveler.
It's a South African word meaning traveler, yeah. And we have a
Nice.
Dutch background, and Afrikaans is very similar to the Dutch language, so she felt the connection there. I wasn't involved because I didn't know you named Jeeps. To me, it's just
Yes, you do.
But now I know. And then the white Jeep, of course, had to have a name. And our favorite book, and we listen to audiobooks when we're traveling as well on long hauls, is a book called The Endurance it's a story of Edmund Shackleton and the Shackleton Adventure. And they went to the South Pole and got trapped. And it's a survival story of all the men on that ship survived. And just yesterday, they found the ship, believe it or not. This big
Oh,
news.
wow.
Really?
Yeah, they had been on there's an expedition to find the ship called the Endurance, which had cracked and then sunk to the bottom of the sea. And sure enough, it was, yesterday they found it. So that's kind of cool for us. But
Worsley.
the captain of that ship was a guy named Frank Worsley. And so he was a navigator and just a tough all-around guy. I mean, for them to survive, I think 2 years in the Antarctic winters and with limited food supply and all that. It's just a story of people keeping their spirits up during hard times, working together as a team. And if you get a chance to either listen to the audiobook or read the book, it is one of the most incredible stories you'll ever read. But that's Frank Worsley. That's where Worsley came from.
I love
really
it.
cool.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. Kara says, what was the development of your channel? Did you just start out wanting to share your trips?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Well, it was kind of a little bit more for Grandma and Grandpa and Opanoma because they were like, "Where are our grandkids?" And Caroline was showing a big interest in, filming and photography, and so we're like, "Well, she's kind of getting to that age where she needs something to be doing anyways." Like and she really wanted to learn how to make movies. So that's kind of how that all started.
Yeah, so we filmed the entire time since the beginning with whatever cameras we had at the time. We weren't definitely very professional at the beginning, but we documented the trip. But we really didn't start YouTube until we were leaving New Zealand, like 2 weeks before we were leaving New Zealand in 2017. And that's when talking to the kids, me and Carol, over all those years, that finally sunk in. Because over those years, we're like, you guys should really start a YouTube channel. No, because we didn't want the kids just to be traveling around and believing that money grows on trees, and everybody should be able to just travel around and it's easy. We wanted them to understand it costs money, and you have to find a way to make money in order to sustain this life. So they said, yeah, we want to keep traveling. After we'd ask that every year. Are you guys done? Do you want to keep going? Yes, we want to keep going. Then we'd say, well, you've learned over the years the costs of food and fuel and all the different expenses. We got to find a way for you to be able to contribute. And it's just, as parents, everyone would want that. You want your kids to learn some skills, real life skills. And so
Absolutely.
when I was a kid, my parents went through the same thing, and they said, start mowing lawns. Well, we couldn't really mow lawns while we were traveling, so YouTube was the next step for us. And we started investigating online businesses and things we could do on the road. And so, yeah, they've embraced it completely and really honed their skills over the years, become really good at videography. And even recently did an internship with the X-Overland team and got to work in a real movie production studio. And so, yeah, I mean, they see that as their career. They just love it.
Okay, it sounds like we need to take a Lando break here.
Oh, my Lanta.
Yes.
I might
Have
have to
mercy.
walk the camera because you'll see what.
All right.
He's probably running.
He's probably chilling. Yep.
Oh, he's chilling. Oh, it's nap
Oh.
time, baby.
Oh,
Oh,
baby.
Stretch.
there,
Oh,
Kara. There's
goodness.
Lando.
All right, Kara, there's your Lando fix.
Oh, he's adorable.
There you are, but
It's like, what's going on?
my friend.
He's like, I'm on TV enough. I don't need this. I'm on break.
Sweetheart.
I'm on break.
So much friendlier than my dog.
Yeah.
Don't talk about him like that.
I know. Sprig's a good boy.
Spriggy.
What time?
Missouri Adventures is asking, does the whole family have one favorite place that you've been to? I bet that's really hard.
That's super hard.
Yeah.
It's such a difficult question to answer because it keeps changing. And every place we've been, we have not been one place that we haven't thoroughly enjoyed. And they're all for different reasons. Sometimes it's because the scenery is so epic. Sometimes it's the people we met, New Zealand always tops, is up there just because it was the whole picture of absolutely gorgeous scenery to drive through every single day. Wonderful people that would just invite you into their home. But also we had so many amazing experiences. We had the opportunity to rescue 120 whales that were stranded on a beach there. And some of those types of experiences just left an imprint, and they're basically really life-changing experiences. So all of that together,
That's
I'd say
amazing.
New Zealand is definitely up there. But then every place we've been since then has been amazing as well. Recent
And-
travels
yeah.
to the mountains of Colorado, that was amazing.
Oh, for sure.
Alright.
Well, let's see. I mean, this is a good one. What internet booster setup works best for you on the road and overlanding?
We're going to install a WeBoost. So we've tried it. We had a WeBoost up at our cabin at the lake, and it was early technology. Sort of worked, but you had to really lean the phone against it to get one extra bar of Wi-Fi. But we've seen them improve over the years, and we actually don't even have a
That's
web
why I
booster
laughed.
on our vehicle right now. We are going to probably install the WeBoost because we've met a bunch of people recently who said that the technology's improved. So we're either online or offline. Very, very little of in between.
Yeah, we have a WeBoost, and it works fairly well, but you have to have at least somewhat of a little bit
The signal.
of something for it to do anything.
Oh, yeah.
It's still very touchy. What's Kara saying here? Have you experienced anything that made you want to quit? Oh,
Ooh. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think so. I mean, there are times sometimes they're harder than others. Sometimes you're on a high of the experiences you're having day after day after day. Sometimes you're kind of stuck in the middle. Right now we're stuck, we're not moving, but it's fun because we're building. So it's keeping us occupied, and there's new things happening all the time. But no. And the answer is no to that. We haven't wanted to quit yet.
so have some of your kids, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
No,
Have any of your 3 kids, any of them at all, ever shown at any time that they didn't really want to continue or had a struggle with it? Because I know one of mine, out of my 3, she's not a big fan of the camping part. She likes the traveling part, but she's not so much a fan of the tent and the camping. So I was just curious if any of your kids had any kind of similar struggles with that.
They're kind of always pushing us to go further and harder, but it could be the age that they're
Yeah.
at. Like, I don't know how old yours is. Because like in the beginning, when we had the motorhome, Caroline was very structured, and so she was just like, "But we need to be in, back in Ontario for Christmas, or those routine things and how
Mhm.
things work." But I mean, now she's the one that's like, yeah, telling us where we should be going and planning and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there was a small phase that
You'll probably go through with any kid times, especially initially while they're trying to get used to the lifestyle. And but
as long
yeah,
as you
they've
have
grown as
if you
people.
keep where you have purpose and your values, where they know the reason why we're out there and doing this, and the
Yeah, the minute
opportunity that they have
yeah.
is
If you don't, to that point, that we focus, and we learn that in business before this life, is we would review our goals, we'd review our company purpose on a regular basis. Otherwise, you lose track. Like, really, what am I doing here? And any lifestyle, you could lose track. So we make a purpose, we make a point of having a meeting as a family on a regular basis and review our goals.
Every morning we do just a little huddle and we just kind of talk. But
Yeah,
we even did that even before
I like that.
we were traveling.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it keeps everyone on track. Otherwise, it's easy to stray for sure from your purpose. But we feel like we have a strong purpose, and we have our 3 core values that started out with work, play, and care. So working hard, and we work hard at building our online business, but we just work hard at life, and that makes it fun. We play hard, and we make that a really important part of our life, and we purposefully make sure we take time to play. And then the care part is we try to leave the people we meet and the places we visit a little better than we found them. And that gives us meaning to doing what we do, and opportunities present themselves when you have that mindset. And we've been able to do all kinds of amazing things around the world over the years that really give a sense of purpose and meaning. But even our channel, we see it as a chance to talk to so many people and inspire people, inspire families to do more together. And we get notes and letters by the hundreds, and we can't even keep up to replying to them. So anyone watching who's waiting for a reply, we'll promise, but we're way behind. But we get so many good letters and emails and notes and comments and we see hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, or even millions of people that have watched the videos, and they're inspired as a family. So even if they're not in overlanding, they're like, well, I like how your family works together, or I like how you guys get into trouble and then find a way out together, and nobody freaks out, nobody says I'm leaving, and everyone finds their purpose and they're part of the team and stuff like that. That's really what we're doing out here, and that's what makes it so that we all really enjoy the process, and we enjoy carrying on.
Absolutely.
A bonus, I think, is just the cool stuff we get to see as we go.
For sure.
That's awesome.
So let's see, Lady Rocklander, we've watched your kids grow up, which is true. What do they aspire to do as adults, careers?
Yeah, I can answer. Well, I mean, we could try to bring them in, but they're probably working on their careers right now. But they all love the adventure filmmaking side of this, what we've been doing, and they've all got a really good background in it now. So some are more like Caroline towards the behind the camera part of it, and others towards the more technical side of it. But the 3 kids see a career in adventure filmmaking, and starting with YouTube, but
That's awesome.
They've been honing their skills to be able to do bigger productions, and they worked with Clay and X Overland. Spend time shooting, helping on the camera crew, but also time in the studio editing, and so really producing high quality movie quality or TV quality productions, and so they could get a job tomorrow. I mean, they get job offers all the time. So if they wanted to get a job in that field, they could do it immediately, but they are more entrepreneurial and they want to build their own business in that field, continue to build their own business in that field.
That's fantastic.
Perfect. Melissa wants to know, have the kids found ways to make connections with other kids their age, being on the road all the time?
I get that question a lot too.
Yeah, they do. We get back, except for COVID year, every other year we get back to, we have an off-grid cabin on a lake, and we spend a couple months up there usually. And that's, I mean, catch-up time for them. We have more kids up there than you can imagine coming up, all their friends and cousins and family. So for one-on-one time of just doing stuff like water skiing together or just hanging out and staying up later around the fire or having marshmallows, you know, they spend a lot of time there. The rest of the time they connect online with everybody as they always did. Even when we had, you know, their friends lived just down the road, they're more online than in person often. But they keep in touch with everybody online. And then as we travel, we visit family and friends everywhere. And our circle of friends have just expanded so much that we have friends in every state now, and we didn't have that before. Every province now, or in many countries. And they just meet people all over. And so, yeah, they really have a great interaction with friends, you know, and friends all over, different ages. They've been able to interact with people. You know, little kids that feel that they're kind of a mentor. Our kids are a mentor to them, and so they have that responsibility to be a role model, and they feel that burden. You know, I mean, I have a lot of eyeballs looking at me, and I want to be a good role model, which is a really good thing for young people to have. It's nothing we put on them. It's just they felt that themselves, but they've also been able to talk intelligently with adults and really, you know, business people that I've dealt with over the years. Or I'm a public speaker, and I get to go to conferences from time to time and meet with other speakers, really interesting people that have incredible stories, and the kids get to sit and learn from them. And so I think the opposite is what most people think. They'll be sheltered and kind of, you know, lose the ability to communicate with people. It's been 1,000% the other way.
For sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Mine are very social and don't know a stranger and have friends all over the United States. So I agree with you. I think it actually makes them more well-rounded and able to talk to anyone. Like you said, you know, they can carry on a conversation no matter what your age or your background. So.
Yeah. They go back sometimes to see kids they went to school with, and they're still hanging out with the same 8 or 5 people that they've been hanging out with for the last 10 years, and they do the same stuff, and they barely left the same town. And so you have a narrow world vision when you just stay within, you know, 20 miles of where you were born. So they've the travel lifestyle has allowed them to just expand their horizon and really become compassionate for their fellow man around the world. And they've seen people that live in a wealthy lifestyle. They've seen people that live dirt poor in places like Haiti, and they've been able to help out with them. And they planted rice in Indonesia and learned that, you know, food doesn't grow on a store shelf. And
Exactly.
Just had amazing experiences that I think open a kid's eyes to the world around them.
That's amazing. We're going to take a quick break and listen to one of our sponsors, Artemis Overland Hardware. We'll be right back.
The world changes daily around us. Change is inevitable. It's coming. Many things in life change, but some things do not. They're a rock, a constant, dependable, reliable, and safe. Artemis was founded upon a single idea: experiencing adventure and life outdoors with friends is a life well lived. We're here to provide your needs, to be a good environment for our employees, and to give back to our own community. We don't say this just to hear ourselves talk, or because it sounds good. It's our vision since day one. That's why we have family instead of customers. That's why we give to local and overland charities. That's why we have respect from our vendors, our community, and a mutual respect from every person that walks in our door. Our mission will never change, But our showroom, our website, what we offer to you will always be evolving to reflect who we are and always will be. Overlanders who are committed to serving overlanders, being the best, bringing you the best reliability, service, gear, and friendship. The world may change around us, but we will not, as living this life alongside you as family can never be replaced.
Yeah, we love our Artemis family. And just a reminder that the first Saturday of every month, there's Rigs and Coffee at Artemis Overland Hardware, Springfield, Missouri. So
It
my
seemed like
next
it-
question,
our kind of-
what's that?
It seemed like
Your-
our kind
your
of
turn.
people.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. They're really down to earth, great, great people. We all love them very much. So they're definitely like family. So my next question is, what would you say to other families that might be interested in getting into overlanding full time with their kids? How would you guide them?
I would say do it if you at all can, and if that's something that you really feel will benefit your family. But make sure you can figure out how to pay your way. I don't want someone to go out there and then just be
Are you talking full time or just going,
that's a good question. Yeah, full time.
Well, I mean,
or just like let's just go for a couple days, a week, or something like that?
yeah, I mean, I was more leaning to full time, but they're, either way, there's still logistics involved with kids, and
yeah.
what advice would you give
I
families
mean,
that are
for-
interested in taking their kids out?
Yeah, I think it's the best thing you can do. Get them away from the screens and the games and the distractions. And there's just something about being outside and around a campfire as a family, sharing stories and memories. For full timers, of course, you need an income. It's not cheap. Neither is living at home. So there's so many ways to earn money now on the road. So, that's one benefit we have that they didn't have maybe even 10, 20 years ago, for sure not. You can make money online, and a lot of people, especially the last couple of years, have learned that their job actually can allow them to be at home, or on the road, or as long as they have a connection of some sort. So as long as you have that sorted out, then don't overthink it and just do it, because you won't regret it. There'll be times you'll wake up in a tent somewhere and go, am I doing the right thing?
I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
I had a few of those moments. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're realistic about that. You're going to have those thoughts, and then the sun comes up in the morning, and you find that you're, at the end of Padre Island on a beach, all by yourself, and it's just except for the dolphins and the coyotes and the seabirds, and you go, there's no better life, So don't worry about it if you have that thought once in a while. You're living a unique life that you won't regret. You'll look back someday and go, I can't believe we did that. In terms of being with the kids, you're gonna, everything will be a little bit harder. Washing dishes in the field is harder than washing dishes at home with running water and all the comforts. Dealing with a family in a tight vehicle, it'll be harder but better. I mean, it'll force you to get along. People say, how do you guys, your kids still live with you and they still get along as teenagers? How's that possible? Well, in a house, typically someone gets upset, they run and slam the door to the room and make a big noise, and then they're in their room. When we're in here, you slam the door and you're probably in the toilet room, and it's not as romantic, so you don't have the opportunity. You're kind of forced to deal with things, to talk things through, and that's if every family had the time and the luxury of being able to talk things through right when they happen, a lot of things wouldn't have a chance to fester into bigger problems. And so that's one of the both pains and joys of this lifestyle.
Yeah, I agree. I think it definitely brings you closer together, but sometimes it's very trying, and I'm sure that there's days that the kids don't get along, and there's days that you're like, just go over there, go for a hike or something.
Guys, be in this car.
Hiking is one of the perfect things. Get everyone, they can go at their own pace, get rid of all the whatever's bothering them, come back, and everyone's cool again, and off you go.
Absolutely.
I'm sure this has happened to you, but Bats Off Road's asking, ever have any bears or other wildlife in camp? I'm sure there's many stories about that.
Yeah, I mean, we're really bear aware, so we're very, very careful, especially in grizzly country. And we've been in grizzly country. You know, we tell people there's a difference between national park grizzlies and wild grizzlies. National park grizzlies are quite used to people, and so they'll wander into camp for almost no provocation, and they'll come sniffing around.
Maybe
Whereas
more black bears.
and black bears for sure as well. But wild
Yeah.
bears tend to be fairly shy. So if you do a good job of cleaning up and don't leave food scraps around, definitely don't have them in your tent. You probably will rarely see one. That's the
true.
reality of it. But you might see the signs of them the next morning. They may have come and sniffed around camp. So we haven't had any major problems with wildlife.
No, we just heard one when we were in the middle of nowhere. And it was just sniffing around. Like you could just
Oh,
hear
you mean
it.
the recent one? We heard a loud roar. We were actually doing a bit of a commercial for a bear spray. Not a commercial, but they gave us some innate bear spray and some real bear spray. And they said, hey, it would be awesome if you could do some training on the inert stuff. And we're spraying it around because there's no pepper in
And
it.
actually, that's really good to do as a family because you don't realize how like either low or high up, like when you totally miss the whole area. Like if you were to encounter a bear,
Yeah.
I'm like, that is smart to practice all as a family or even just yourself to do that. But anyways.
Don't wait till a grizzly's charging at you to learn how to use it.
Wait till you can hear him growling in the
But we were
background.
playing around. Yeah, we were
Oh,
just
my.
playing with it, and all of a sudden a bear roared. We were in a place in Montana that they call Grizzly Alley and the Grizzly Highway or something. And there's a lot, high population there. But thankfully, it's only been exciting and fun encounters, nothing really dangerous. But we are prepared, and we try to be very, very careful with bear awareness.
We've had a lot of cows come through our camp, and we've heard coyotes all over the place. But thankfully, we spent the whole summer in the Pacific Northwest, Idaho, Wyoming, Washington, Oregon, and didn't see any bears, thank goodness. So I was very happy about that.
The highest population of bears we've ever encountered was in northern BC as we were crossing into Yukon, like way up north. And there was one on the side of the road, every mile that we drove. And then we just pulled over camp. And
They were just footprints everywhere, all around.
There were grizzly prints, but we'd see black bears all the way up, and then we'd just pull over and find a camp spot and hope they wouldn't come visiting.
Wow, you definitely have to be bear aware. That's for sure.
Yes. Kara's asking, what are some destinations of 2022, and will we see you at Expo West?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so I mean,
We're trying to do all the navigating with that right now.
yeah, we're actually sitting there planning because we don't know how many more days we'll be on the build or weeks or whatever. So hopefully not weeks, but once that's done, we're heading back to Amarillo to get a few fine details put on, and then we're going to go exploring. Our goal is to kind of go from the Mexican border to the Canadian border on almost all backcountry. So that's kind of our next short-term trip. And then we're hoping as things open up around the world to do some more overseas stuff. But before that, we're so desperate to get back to the cabin on the lake, and just we've been a year away from there, and we haven't missed a year in like 15 years since we got the place. So last year was the first year we weren't there. So that'll be somewhere along the way, stopping in there and spending some time. And then we'll keep you guys informed as we decide where we're going up,
But hopefully to the expo.
Oh, in terms of Expo,
Yes.
we're going to make a good effort to get there, yeah.
Yeah, we're like 80% sure.
Awesome. Do you plan to continue to travel once the kids move on with their futures? And then she puts epic couple road trip.
That's cute.
The
such a good
sequel.
question.
The sequel.
Yeah, we got a little taste of that when the kids last winter, all three of them left for a while to do their internship, and we found ourselves alone. We called it the Empty Nest Edition, and
Aw.
I love
we had
that.
a blast. We had so much fun.
It was like a second honeymoon. It was
Yeah.
actually really, really nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You just forget, like, you can just sit on each other's lap and just you can kiss and with the kids there, often you just kind of
They're like, oh, gross.
Ew.
Yeah.
But we all of a sudden we had so much free time, and we were just like,
I was like, and the food bill was
what
like
are we normally
cut
doing on a Wednesday?
to nothing. And
Hmm.
it was interesting how everything worked. There
Yeah.
was like no dishes. I had so much more time to just focus on whatever we.
That's when they were in their
Yeah.
internship. Yeah.
Uh-oh, I think they froze up. Are they frozen on your end?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Here we're
And we're
back.
back.
Yeah, shopping was a joke. We'd go grocery shopping once every 2
Months
weeks or
or-
something.
yeah.
Like, it was just crazy. So to answer the question is, yeah, I mean, we would definitely keep going. We don't know what our
Yeah,
vehicle will be at that point.
We've talked about the same thing. Once the kids grow up and do their own thing, we're still probably going to travel everywhere that we can. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a whole new
once you get that
experience.
bug,
little
it's like,
3 months.
The
We had 3
dream.
months or so, and then we went and met them in Montana. But those 3 months were just bliss. It was just, I mean, we love every minute of this, but it was just unbelievable how much free time we all of a sudden had. So we're looking.
y'all got
forward
to know
that.
each other again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. For sure. Is there any one or two pieces of equipment that you have discovered or maybe were supplied by a sponsor that you think are very worthy of investment?
Hmm.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, some stuff we wouldn't do without anymore, like long range fuel tank for our style of driving. We've got these auxiliary tanks now in the vehicles, and that was a game changer for us. For instance, the 60 miles of the beach, some people have to carry gas in there. We got low near the end, and then you just hit a button and you fuel up again. It's almost like you visited a fuel station, but you just hit a button and now you've got a full tank again, and you come all the way out. So that's got us out of some trouble. What things would you think about?
I would have to go with water purifying.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's always, something that then you don't have to go back into town, or
Yes.
even if you're in a town, you don't have to buy it because you don't know where the clean water source is. So having that just allows you to keep out in the field a lot longer.
absolutely. Yeah, that's
The lifesavers are a game changer, aren't they?
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks.
Yeah, we love
I'm
ours.
obsessed with them.
Just got one.
Yeah,
We love it.
they're wonderful. I love them. We dumped it in murky water to rivers to lakes. Yeah, it's just crazy. Everything but the
Mhm.
ocean.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, to answer that question, the things that give you the most important, the ability to get out of difficult situations, anything like that is important. We never get rid of our winch off the front. Actually, for the first couple of years of travel, we only used our winch to help someone else out of a rough situation. But as we got more and more adventurous, we found ourselves, in spots where we have to winch out, and that recovery equipment is very important. And then all your comforts, your ability to keep food fresh, and to store food and to cook food. Ability to stay warm if you get into bad weather, all the safety stuff. And finally, I would say satellite communicator.
Yeah.
What the last thing we want to do, and so we hear from so many families that say, "Hey, you inspired us to go out and do crazy things," and we just don't want to inspire someone to get out there and not be prepared. We don't want to hear of a family that wasn't prepared and they get into trouble. So we make a point of always saying, here's some stuff you need, and one of them is a communicator. If anyone saw our videos, we had 3 videos where we were stuck in the mountains for 3 days, and it was supposed to be a 90-minute drive, which it would be in the summer. It took 3 days, and we actually ended up turning around and coming out. But I was shooting our GPS coordinates every night to my brother, and just so someone knew where we were, and if we did get into serious trouble. Now, we were very prepared. We had lots of food for weeks. We had heat, shelter, and water filtration.
Not really. Did
We had,
we? Freezing.
well, we're in tents in freezing cold, but we did have Mr. Heater buddies.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is I was shooting those coordinates because, you know, if we had gotten really bad trouble, we could we have the security of knowing we can hit a button and help will be on the way. So we encourage everyone to make the investment in something like what we use is a Garmin InReach. That allows us
That's
to
what we have.
text from our phone as easy as if we're texting on it. And that's when you're off of cell coverage. When you're way up in the mountains, there's no way you're going to get a cell connection. You can now communicate freely if you need to. So things like that are a very good investment, and buy them first.
Yeah, because we've had ours for like the 5 years, 6 years. Yeah, since we started. So a lot of our gear, the same gear we've been.
Our first one was a Spot. We still have it, but it was like if you got in trouble, you hit a button and you can't communicate. But the technology's improved since we started, and now you can have two-way communication. My brother
we
was
love ours.
back over. Yeah. We're stranded in grizzly country. We're stuck. You know, we can't move. We don't know if we're going to make it out alive. And he texts back. He's like, "Oh, that's cool. I can see your map. I didn't know they had that technology." And I didn't want to scare him or get him worried. You know, he'd call in the Marines. And then months later, we were visiting him, and I shared, or he watched the series. That's what it was. And then he texted back and he's like, "That's why you were sharing with me. You guys were stuck in the mountains. And I thought you were."
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's good to have. So the short answer is just safety stuff is very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, do it, I mean, as a family or with a friend of yours. So when you are going out with a friend or your family, just kind of brush up on just a few things. I think that's really good too.
A good medical bag, first aid bag, and then know how to use it. So training helps.
Absolutely.
Thankfully, we haven't had lots of injuries, but
we've had some.
Pete went down on the bike. If you saw that episode.
Mom's like, we've had some.
That was terrible. Yes.
Yeah, that was scary for us. But we had just completed actually our backcountry medical certification, and so we knew what to do. But never assume that something's not going to happen out there. Just be prepared and prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
Absolutely.
Good advice.
For sure. So what's your biggest pet peeve when you're out on the trails? What's something that's happened that just really annoys you out there?
When they block the trail, right when it's getting beautiful.
Right when it's getting good?
Yeah. We've had that a couple of times. Once fairly recently in California, the people we were with are saying, you know, the best spot's over that hill, and you get up there and it's all blocked off. And another one in Montana, we were just cranking it, just having so much fun, and then you're about to get into the stuff you were going for, and then all of a sudden it's got these signs saying, you know, for whatever reason they're blocked off, whether permanently or temporary. And I'm sure there's a good reason for it, but it's always a pain when you bushwhacked your way in there.
I would have to say probably finding other campers' garbage.
Yes.
That's never nice. I don't know if it's just disappointing because it's a beautiful camp spot. You know, you want to leave it better than how you found it for the next person to enjoy. And then when you show up, sometimes, the view's perfect, everything's perfect, but there's broken glass or bathroom toiletry. That's probably my thing, is because I'm like, I look at the toiletry that's on the ground a lot of the time, and it is from women. And I am very disappointed in that. And I'm very surprised in that, because it blows my mind how easy it is to either bury it or, you know, have a zip off baggie and put it in there until you can, you know, get rid of it at, you know, garbage.
It's a different time. Yeah.
The sanitary
really sad
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot, and I'm like, really?
Yes.
And it's really disappointing. So no one wants to see that. But I just try and be a good example by always packing it away.
That someone earlier mentioned our Padre Island camp spot. It was absolutely gorgeous, but we did a huge cleanup before we started filming there, and we brought out the garbage. There's big bins at the end of the 60 miles, but it just, like Carol said, it's disappointing, and sometimes surprises us how somebody can just, like a fold-up table or something, and then it's just cracked and laying there, and they didn't bother taking it out with them. or some kind of lawn chair they brought all the way in, and they just left it there. So, and if you're out there, just take your garbage with you. And we learned years ago, we met a family of friends of ours now that are travel on the road, and they always, no matter what, they pick up minimum 5 pieces of trash each on the way out of any gift spot. It's not their own, but someone else's. So yeah,
Good rule of thumb.
When we get to a site, if there's trash, the kids are like, "Oh boy," because they know we're going to pick it up and take it with us. So they're like, "Okay, it's trash pickup time." But we've seen all kinds of random stuff out there. It's crazy what people throw out in the woods.
Yeah. Now, the farther remote you get, the less you run into that. So that's why in the Chiefs we can get ourselves to where no man has been before type of thing, and those are our favorite spots. So
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Where did you get your certification for your medical for the backcountry?
Yeah, there's a couple of different companies that offer that. Fieldcraft.com, Fieldcraft Survival. They do courses all over North America. They're highly professional and they do a great job. There's a couple other ones. We actually got ours through, I believe it's called Ariel, out of Montana. But yeah, look online and you can find. You typically have to have a group of people. So get together with your family and your friends and maybe their families as well. And the more people, sometimes the better price it is.
Especially the friends who are going out with you often.
Yes.
So you might as well all get it, because if something happens,
Everybody's on the
everyone
same page.
kind of knows what to do.
That's a great advice. Great advice. Favorite camp meal? I'm sure y'all have several.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's hard.
For me, I mean, I love them all. Anything cooked over an open fire, but Carol makes these short ribs in a cast iron Dutch oven that just fall off the bone. And
I've seen that.
My favorite. Yeah.
I'm always hungry after I get done watching y'all cook.
Yeah.
I don't think I have a favorite meal. I just like cooking.
Zucchini lasagna. Oh,
I
goodness.
don't know.
So
Me personally though, I don't know if I have a favorite meal.
The kids have theirs. Caroline loves anything we do, like a Thai curry. Carol makes up.
Yeah, she's anything curry. Yeah.
Yum.
And then
The boys like anything and everything.
Of course
They're boys.
Growing boys.
Yeah.
no, I just
that's
like
awesome.
I really enjoy cooking. So and if I can make something up, I'm not one to really follow any type of books or anything like that. It's just whatever I have, and if it turns out really good, then I'm just like yes. But I probably could never remake it because it's just one of a kind.
People keep asking for a recipe book, and I think Carol's going to make one eventually. But overland cooking is typically it's what you have. You can prepare the day after shopping. The meal's perfect, and the second day, and then it starts getting into you start making up meals. But some of those made up meals are the best. So I got to start documenting them as she's cooking.
Yep, you use what you have out there because you're not going to the store.
So you're not.
So, do you think that there's any place that you haven't been yet that you're like, that's my bucket list? Like that's somewhere that we have to go before the kids move on with their lives, or is there a special place for you guys?
Yes.
What do you have?
Well,
Are you gonna
for
tell
me,
her?
I would love to go down to Argentina and Chile.
Ooh.
I just
Yeah.
Yeah,
We want to do the Pan American.
Yeah.
Done sections of it from San Diego to Alaska. The boys just did the final jump to Prudhoe Bay, but we want to do the South America, the rest of it right down to the bottom of Argentina.
yeah, I get excited just even thinking of that.
Same.
Yeah.
It's
Nice.
we talk about
I can see it.
almost daily.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She's giddy.
She's like, let's go now.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Is that the same for
I'd
you,
like to
Peter?
get I'm looking forward to that for sure. Another one is I love remote wild places, and there's a lot down there in the southern hemisphere. But I want to get up to Tuktoyaktuk. We've made an attempt a couple years ago and got turned around because of restrictions at the time. But we got as far as Yukon. We had done Alaska the first year in the motorhome and towing the Jeep, and we didn't do the drive up the rest of the way to the Arctic. So we want to close that finish that whole thing. So the
Very
kids
cool.
all have different places they either want to go or go back to.
How much time do we have? Because I can quickly go see if they can come and say hi.
Oh yeah, we got time.
Really?
If you want.
Go grab the kids and the dog
I'll
and
go
everybody else.
Lando's having beauty rest time right now.
Yes, he's so cute.
He's-
Linda's like, I've made my appearance.
Yeah. He's under a blanket over there.
Oh,
Sweetie.
I plan to be under a blanket soon too.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah, he's an amazing dog, and it's awesome how many people want to see him when we do go to shows. Lando's the main attraction for sure.
Yeah. Well, he's so personable and
He's
he's his own star. That's for sure.
He is.
he is. Yeah, lets it go to his head. He's just happy to see everybody.
Did you guys get him an agent yet or anything? Or
That's
No,
enough.
not yet.
How many miles do you think he runs today?
Oh man, I mean, when
Oh,
we're on
wow.
the trails, he can do. We haven't really clocked it, but we should. Someone said we should get him whatever those odometers that kind of.
Mhm.
That would be kind of neat to put on him, but he can run. We have to stop him from running because he'll just keep going. Yeah. So
oh yeah.
He's a great dog. People ask us how did you train him to run ahead of the Jeeps, and we just say we didn't. When he was a little pup, he just wanted to get out and run, and he just started running in front of us. We went really slow, and we just let him get his exercise, and he'd come back and sleep, and then he'd get out and run. And ever since, we don't do anything. If we're on pavement, he'll fall asleep.
Yes.
As soon as we hit dirt or any kind of bumps, he's just, where are we? Why am I not running?
It is
Yeah.
hilarious.
And he'll start whining, and we open the door, and he's gone. And he never gets too far ahead. He's a mama's boy, so he'll look back. The Jeeps are too far back, and make sure we're coming, and then keep going. So
Aw.
he's been a great addition.
How's he with other people?
He loves them.
Yeah.
And he loves other dogs. Like, he's just like, he really loves people and dogs. I don't know. On the beach is his favorite. When we were in Tofino, he would every day go and play with all the other dogs and just,
Yeah.
I don't know, he's very social for being a dog that's always in the wilderness.
So much so that he saw a black bear once on the side of the trail. I think he thought it was another dog, and he just ran and jumped on him to say hi.
I almost had a heart attack. Like, cause
Oh my
he
gosh.
literally jumped on the black bear, and then the bear like stood full up and like swiped at him. He's like, "Oh, he's playing," and we're just like, "Ah!" That was
Oh my
really, really
God.
scary.
Ooh.
We were able to
Oh.
call back to us, and then the bear ran off into the forest. But
Yeah, that was probably
Wow.
our scariest moment with Lando so far. Oh,
So
here's the
speaking
boys.
of
We're
which-
talking. Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say, speaking of which, how do you guys handle vet visits and things like that on the road? Doctor's visits, all that stuff,
yeah, like for people and dogs.
and the dogs,
It's-
yeah, all the visits.
We've made friends with doctors and dentists in every state all over North America, and so it's tricky, but it works. We've just been lucky to meet such great people, and we go and explain who we are, what we're doing, and why we're not with our home doctor and our home dentist, and they usually take us right in. So
Yeah,
and we've had to deal with things and keep up to date on that, in no matter where we are, even in foreign countries. Guys, come
Yeah, I have
come
a-
say hi.
I have a dentist friend now in Idaho that did an emergency tooth extraction on me, so I understand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
No, that sounds
yeah.
fun.
We've had
Yeah.
good few of those.
Hey guys,
horrible.
Boys,
Hey, y'all.
any questions for the boys?
welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, and watch your YouTube channel also. So
Yeah,
join your adventures.
very
Thank
cool.
you.
Love the motorcycles. I'm glad you guys have them back.
Yeah, we're really happy to have them back now.
Are you anxious to get on the trail very soon?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. They're getting some work done to them now and a few upgrades, so it'll be really fun to hit the trail again with them.
Very cool.
Awesome. Awesome.
We got another question up here. Kara wants to know what your favorite part of Alaska was, boys.
Oh. I think mine would have to be Hatcherman's Pass. Is it Hatcherman, right? Yeah, Hatcher's Pass up in the mountains when it was raining there. Even though it was raining and muddy, it was just such a beautiful spot. We even did a hike up to a abandoned gold mine and everything. It was such a nice spot, and also right off the road. You don't even have to go too far to get to it.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
my favorite would be when we drove to Kinnick Glacier. Just because the drive was amazing. We drove at least from 6 o'clock to 3 a.m. trying to get in there, and then we just had to make a crash camp at 3 in the morning, and then we continued on the next day, and we got to this glacier, and it was like a full fjord. There was icebergs floating coming off of 3 different glaciers from the mountains there, and it was just amazing.
Wow.
We got to go jump on some of them. It was quite a life experience.
Amazing.
That's awesome. And how old are each of you?
I'm 19 and I'm 17.
Wow.
The places you've been.
It's the same thing my mom says. She says, I'm in my 60s and my grandkids have been way more places than I have. It's crazy.
Yeah.
How old
You
are
guys
your
even
kids?
know how many places you've been?
Oh, why not?
Probably not.
Not every single place, no. Every place is beautiful, so you have to count every place you've ever been as an experience of some kind.
Oh, yeah.
Here's one favorite place to ride the bike so far.
Ah,
Probably Moab, Utah, just because we got to learn so much stuff there, and there's just trails everywhere you go. Like every corner you take, there's a new trail, and that was one of my favorite spots. Just desert riding in general is one of my favorites, but Moab's just an epic place to go. Yeah, mine was Colorado, going through the whole Colorado BDR. It was, 1,000 miles of beauty through the mountains there, and we kind of went in the perfect time of year too. The aspens were all turning gold at that time. It was just an amazing experience. I'd love to go back.
very, very nice. Yeah, that's 2 of my favorite states as well, for sure.
Those aspens.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show tonight. We've had a really wonderful time with you, and I really, really love y'all. I appreciate you so much. Keep doing what you're doing. We'll keep watching. We'll keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully one day our paths will all cross. We can have a
Yeah.
campfire together. That'd be awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Let's make it happen.
Make it
yeah,
happen.
definitely. And again,
Yeah,
you know,
thanks for having us.
absolutely. You guys be safe and enjoy those new stretched out rigs and those motorcycles, and we'll see you next time. Have a
All
great
right.
night, everyone.
On the road.
Yeah, we'll see you down the road.